Hi everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to be making a wooden sign for my dining room, and I am also going to be doing a tutorial on how to make these beautiful and easy flowers out of cardstock. So be sure to stay tuned till the end of the video because you are not going to want to miss the tutorial. And another thing you're not going to want to miss is Crafters Castle Challenge this month, June 2019, because Create for Less is the sponsor, and they're offering a prize of a $100 gift certificate to spend in their store. Yes, you heard me right. $100 to spend at Create for Less. Holy cow, there is no better prize than that. And all you have to do is go to Crafters Castle, link below in the description box, and enter your creations. And it doesn't matter whether they are cards or mixed media or, a canvas, an altered project, because we accept all creations from all crafters in our challenge. So please head on over there because that prize is only available this month, June 2019. Okay, now let's head on over to the craft table and get started on my project. Here are the products from Create for Less that I'm going to be using today, and there will be links to all of them below in the description box. For the sign I'm going to be making, my husband gave me the scrap piece of board that he had, and it's about 18 inches long, 5.5 inches wide. Really doesn't matter because you can make signs any size you want. And it even has some little imperfections, and it's perfect for the look that I'm going for. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to actually do 2 coats of paint on here, and I'm using this texture chalk from Home Decor. Let's see if it'll focus there. Well, maybe it's not going to focus, but anyways, it's called Whisper White, and I'm going to be doing the first layer with this sponge brush, and then I'm going to be doing the second layer with a paintbrush to actually give it a little bit of texture. So let me get started. Oh, look at that. It's going to focus for you now. There you go. Okay, let me get started painting, and I'm going to speed things up. Okay, it's dry and ready for the second coat. And also, a lot of you may be wondering why I use wax paper underneath instead of newspaper. And that is because it comes off easier if it sticks, just like that. So it's kind of sticking, but I'm able to lift it off. And while I was off camera, I also painted the sides. So I'm going to have to go touch that up a little bit, because those spots are still just a tiny bit damp. But now it's time to take this brush, give it a second coat, and a little bit of texture. Love to have taken you through the process of getting my stencil attached, but it turned out it took forever and there wasn't some really good views, so I'm just going to walk you through what I did. So this is the piece of wood that I'm going to be stenciling, and it was 18 inches long. The stencil was 12 inches, so I measured in 3 inches from each side, and I also did some measuring to figure out where I wanted my stencil to lay, centered this direction. And I used washi tape to mark off my spots. And then I also used washi tape to attach most of this. And I used painter's tape to go across the top of the stencil that's below. I also used some spray stencil adhesive to help, since what I'm doing, which you cannot see right now, and I am not going to lift it up for you, but it is very fine writing. And then because
this is a stencil with 3 different stencils on it. I put another piece of wood here just to keep it lifted up so it's even, so it wouldn't keep bending. So a lot of work and a lot you missed, and I probably almost took just as long to explain it. And I'm going to be using this chalk paint here, ceramic coat, and it is London Stone. And I kept hoping that it would focus for you, but it's not going to. And let me get this opened up. And I'm going to be using this little tiny sponge because this is just little tiny areas that I'm going to be doing. And like I said, you will see that here when I'm done. But I love this. It's actually going to say give thanks, but this whole stencil is kind of amazing because it says give thanks. The other one is dream big. And the bottom one is be happy and smile. So you can kind of see those on here a little bit. This is just a beautiful stencil set I absolutely love. And if I thought that I could cut each of these off without getting too close to the other, I probably would do that. But let me get started here, and I will probably be speeding this up for you. Okay, now it's time to very carefully take it off, and it actually makes me nervous. So let me see here what we can do. Voila! Look at that. Very nice. So the next thing I'm going to do is something that most of you may know as the crackle paint technique, but I like to call it a distressed weathered look. And I'm going to do it kind of around the writing, avoiding the writing. And because of that, I'm really not going to be able to do a full tutorial on it, but I am putting a link below in the description box to my tutorial on how to do this technique. I would try to show it all to you in this video, but because of having to go around these words and the timing on everything, I just think it's best that I put the link below, but you will get to see part of it right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be painting, let me move it down this way a little bit. I'm going to be putting the dark paint on first, because with this technique, it's always best to have the dark underneath. And I'm going to do this, and I will come back once I have this part painted. Okay, I got this painted, and it still needs to dry, but I just wanted to let you know that, as I said, there is a link below in the description box to this technique that I'm doing, but due to the size of my project and having to get around the letters carefully, it's just going to be best if I do it off camera if I want this to turn out right. But I will let you know that the next 2 things that I will be doing off camera involve using Elmer's glue and this textured chalk paint in Whisper White. And you are going to love how it looks when I'm done. And here is the finished sign. And I absolutely love the way that this came out. I added some flowers and butterflies, and in a minute I'm going to show you how I made these flowers and how easy it is to do. But this sign can either be sat up like this, especially if you use thicker board, or you can put little hooks on the back and use twine or raffia or wire and hang it on your wall. And that's actually what I'm going to be doing with this one. And if anyone was wondering why I didn't do the crackle or weathered technique over the entire board and then stencil, let me show you. This is what it would have looked like. And then when I stenciled it, because it's the same color paint, or even if it was another dark paint, the lettering would get lost in here. I mean, for example, this would have came right between the T and the H, you know, and part of the T would have got covered up in here, and it just would not have looked as nice. You would not have been able to read it as well. To make those flowers, I use this pearlized cardstock from Create for Less, and I absolutely love it. It comes in so many colors. We've got purple, blue, yellow, white, kind of a ivory color, pink, and see if I can get this in the light so you could see the pearl reflection there. It is a gorgeous pearl, and it is on both sides. This is not single-sided, it is double-sided. And oh, there we go, focus. Okay, and I also used this Sizzix Tim Holtz Tattered Florals die. But this is really old. I'm not even sure where you can get it anymore. But it just so happens, and I'll put a link below, that Create for Less carries a Sizzix Tim Holtz small tattered florals die set, and it's actually better because it has these same flowers, but it has more of them in different sizes, and I'm actually gonna have to order that because I wish that I had more sizes, so that will be on my list to get. And let's see, what else did I use? I used a heat gun, I used a hot glue gun, some water, and either tweezers or just something to hold this down while you're using the heat gun. And let me think. I think that's it. So let's get started. You can make these flowers a variety of ways, so they don't always have to look the same. Even though with all of these, I have used the exact same flower die cuts, I've just done things a little bit different with each one. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take one of the die cuts. And even though the front and back are the same, you can always tell the back because of the way that the die cut works. It's smoother on one side than the other. I'm not sure if it really matters, but I like to spray the back side. So here we go. I'm going to give it a couple sprays. And then I'm just going to kind of work it a little bit. I don't want to bend it, but you just kind of want to make it more pliable. And then turn it over and do the same thing. Okay, now for the one technique, which is for this flower, what I do is there happens to be 6 petals. If yours has 5 petals, you'll end up doing this individually. But I kind of fold it in half and crease it, and I crease the petals. And I do that all the way around so that each time I fold it, I'm folding it in half and creasing the petals. And if you have an odd number, then just go in and crease the petals individually like that. Okay, so once you have all the petals creased, it kind of looks like one of those little, I want to say like a taco shell. They make those little chips that are called scoops, and that's what this reminds me of, you know, for scooping your dip. But this is what it looks like, and you can squeeze it in as much or as little as you want. So it just depends on how tight you want to make it. And then we're going to sit it down here. You know, just make sure you got it shaped the way you want. And we are going to dry it. Okay. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but also when you are using the heat gun, it also helps it to curl up a little bit more. But when you're done, this is solid. And that is one part of a flower. And we just keep doing that. So we'll do another one. I want to make sure I just have one there. But again, I'm going to turn that over, give it a few sprays, and then just kind of work it a little bit to help make it more pliable. And again, I am folding and folding. So basically we're creating this little crease on each petal, giving it some shape. And again, there's our little flower, and just shape it how you want it, because like I said, the flowers are all different. And if you want, you can just kind of shape it a little bit more before it's completely dry. Okay, now I'm putting my pieces aside, so we'll put those together in a little bit because I'm going to show you another way. If you look at this one, these do not have the creases and the petals are curved backwards. So let's take a look at how to do that. Same technique, spray it, make it pliable. And on this one, I'm not going to be bending it like we did before. I'm not going to be folding it. So, but I am using my thumbs, and I'm kind of moving everything in toward the center. And then I'm going to dry it just a little bit. Okay. And then, while it's still slightly damp, I'm just using my finger. You can use something else if you want, but I'm just using my finger and just letting it curve around my finger. You might get a little bend mark in it. Try not to. But even if you do, it's all right. Okay, so we've got those curved back now. Bend it in the middle a little bit more. You're just kind of creating a little hole in the middle. You could use something like this if you want to kind of shape it, if it helps you. You know, hold it between your fingers and just kind of use something with a little ball on the end. I know a lot of you are going, why isn't she doing this on a little mat? Because it doesn't really work that great with this technique. Okay, so there we go. Let's get it dried up. Okay, and that one's ready. And I'll do another one. This way we can put together a couple of complete flowers. I mean, I don't mean to make you sit here and watch me do all of them, so you can always fast forward a little bit. This one needs a little bit more water. So again, we're just kind of bringing it in with your thumbs in the middle and just kind of bringing it in. Just keep, you know, bending it in toward your thumbs. And this kind of brings it up a little bit, kind of gives it more of a cup shape, because that's what you want. You kind of want a little cup shape going there. I wish I could get the camera at two angles at the same time so that you can watch, but if you've ever dried paper with a, you know, the heat gun, you know that it helps it curl up a little bit. But again, I'm just wrapping the petals around my fingers just a little bit. Just to give it a little bit of a curve there. Like I said, you can use something else to do this part of the process with. I'm just using my finger. And again, I'm bending things up a little bit so it still has kind of a cup shape there. Okay. See, there's our little cup shape, little curved things. And one thing I noticed about this paper, or at least with the purple, when it's wet, if you're working it a lot, it actually gets some variations of color in there that I absolutely love. Love, love, love. Okay, now let's work on the center part. So we've got these little pieces. These are slightly different the way we're going to do this. We are still getting it wet, and we are still working it a little bit because we just definitely want it pliable. And then this is just really cute. Watch this. I just fold it up, kind of bring all the edges up, creating this little cup like that. I mean, they'll open back up again, but I bring them all the way in. And then this is where you might want to use something like this to hold it in the middle, or a pair of tweezers, because you're not going to want to hold it in your hands. And sometimes, if I work it just right, I can actually do it without touching it at all with anything. Okay. And again, you can move it up more if you want, or you can spread it out a little bit further if you want. So we are going to do a few of these. And while I'm doing this, you can do as many layers as you want, okay? I've done some with 3 layers. In fact, the ones that are on the board that I made, I actually did 3 layers. And some of them I do 2, and I like it with 2 layers. You may even want to do more layers, or you may just want to do 1 layer. It's totally up to you. I am just showing you the basics on how to shape these and put them together. Okay, give it a little bit more. Whoops. It's so cute. I wish you could see it. It's just spinning all over the place. It was just spinning. It was so cute. Okay, let's see. We've got 1 more. Sorry this is taking so long. It's going to be like the forever tutorial. But I really just want to make sure that you get to see the whole process. And like I said, you could always fast forward, but I don't want you to miss anything. Whoops. Okay. Now we have our pieces. I'm going to put away the heat gun, get my glue gun, and I will be right back. Okay, we are going to start putting flowers together, and it's real simple. Use your glue gun, add a little bit of glue. I normally don't use glue guns. If you've watched my videos enough, you know that. But I actually did quite a few of these flowers using regular glue. And one of the things is that these are so stiff that the regular glue kept wanting to, like, I mean, not the glue, but I mean, the glue wasn't strong enough to hold them unless I just stood there and held it all day long. And so I quickly learned that this works a lot better with a glue gun. Okay. Put a little glue on the back. And plop that into the middle. You can use something like this to kind of press it down if you would like. And then you can decide, you know, how much you want these to stand up or how much you want to flatten them down. And of course, it's never complete unless you have something in the middle like a pearl or a rhinestone or, you know, some of this Nuvo glitter drops is what I use there. But I should grab a pearl and put it in there. But for right now, we're going to come over to the next flower, and we're going to be doing the same thing. And again, I'm only doing these with 2 layers. And this is just to show you guys actually how to make these parts. These are hard. I mean, it kind of sounds weird. You know, one minute it's cardstock, but after you use the water and the heat gun on it, they become pretty solid. So they're sturdy. And you can pop them up a little bit more if you want. You know, like this one is all popped up. So just depends. One of the things that I forgot to tell you while I'm doing this, and this one's glued down. I wasn't paying attention while I was talking to you. But anyways, you want to rotate them. So you don't want to put the flower petals in the exact same spot. You want to put the top ones where they're centered over the next ones. I might have to show you that here again in a minute. So let's put this on there. And this one I'm going to be putting 2 in the middle. So again, on this one, I'm lining up those petals, like that petal in between right there. Okay. And I'm going to be doing the same thing with this one. So it will not be going the same direction, because you don't want all the petals in the exact same spot. That's just not how flowers are made, right? So on this one, there's a petal. I'm going to put this petal in between those 2 so that they do not line up in the exact same spot. Okay? Now, isn't that easy? And you can just make a variety. Those are done with the exact same die cuts, so the exact same flowers, and yet each one is done slightly different, and they hold their shape. So you're not going to have to worry about these eventually flattening back out again or getting smashed. Look at this. They are solid. So that's really, really nice. See, these were made a couple days ago. They're solid. I love them because so many times I worry about flowers getting smashed or going, drooping. So that is how you make these flowers. That is how easy that is to do. Okay, really quick. I promised I was going to show you about lining up the flowers. These have not been shaped yet, but instead of laying them so that they are, well, I can't even get them lined up right, but you don't want them lined up right on top of each other like that. So when you adhere them together, have it so that the petals, you know, alternate. So these are the back petals, these are the front petals, and it looks so much better than if you have them all in the exact same spot.
One more thing before I go. You can use Distress ink and an applicator to add some color to those flowers after they're made. So not before you add the water, but after they're made, just take some ink, go around the edges of your flower, and it will be beautiful. I don't know how well it's showing up here, but it is awesome. So that's one more thing that you can do. And below in the description box, you will find links to all of the products that I used today, as well as a link to Create for Less and a link to Crafter's Castle. So just click where it says Show More, and you will find all the links that you need. Thank you all for watching, and happy crafting. Bye-bye.